All right, Shalom, Shalom, Israel. First, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh. Ba'ashem Mashiach Umarak Yahushua. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world calls God, and Yahushua is the name of His only begotten Son, who the world only calls Jesus Christ. Want to give a strong Shalom to all the mighty men that go out in labor, or that presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, doing all they can to magnify the name of the Most High and feed the lost sheep of the house of Israel, enduring the elements, the 100-degree weathers, the freezing below colds, and everything that's trying to hinder the work of the Most High. I want to say Shalom. I want to give another strong Shalom to all the mighty Aqua, the sisters that are married, reverencing their husbands, and the unmarried sisters being teachers of good things, tender, delicate, and on fire for the Most High. And last but not least, I want to give another strong Shalom to all the mighty teenagers and children in the truth as well, doing all they can to make their calling and election sure in the last days. And by the topic of this cold cut, is we're going into sifting season is approaching. All right, sifting season is approaching. Current events, plus more. I believe I titled it. All right, sifting season is approaching. Current events plus more. All right. So again, you might have a lot of new brothers and sisters coming into this truth every single day. Somebody's new coming in. You might have somebody that has already been in, but might have not have heard of certain terms that we use. All right. So again, this title sifting season is approaching. Now you might have somebody that might say, "Well, hold on, what is sifting season? All right, what does sifting season mean? I've never heard of that term before I came into the truth." Well, today we're going to touch over what sifting season is and how sifting season is approaching. All right. Now let me see how I can pull up my screen. See if I can share this. All right. So sifting season, to put it in a nutshell, sifting season is a time period where the Most High, sifting season is really all 4 seasons. All right. It's not a time period or a Pacific season, rather, where the Most High is just sifting people out of the truth for that time period only. Sifting season is all 4 years. So at any given time, you could be sifted out of this truth. All right, we're not negating that. But sifting season, specifically, rather, it is a time period where a lot or a plethora of brothers and sisters began to fall out of the truth. All right. So I'm gonna say that again. Sifting season is really all 4 seasons. All right. Sifting season is all 4 seasons. And not only that, sifting season is, for lack of better terms, a Pacific season where the Most High starts to sift out brothers and sisters in a large amounts or large multitudes. All right, so right now you're approaching sifting season. All right. And around this time, for the brothers that's in the Midwest, and on the East Coast and Northeast, things start to the winter is approaching. The fall, then the winter is approaching. And a lot of times, a lot of brothers and sisters begin to wax faint and they start to give up. And ultimately, the Most High takes them out of this thing. All right. So sifting season is a season where the Most High starts to sift out men and women that's not on fire, or that's being lazy, or that's taking this truth for granted, or that might be treating this truth like it's a hobby. It's just something to do on the side. So the Lord has to do what? The Lord has to ultimately warn those women and men, if they don't want to hear it or return from their wicked ways, then the Most High has to start taking action. How does he start taking action? By sending ultimately angels down here on the left-hand side to sift men out and cause them to err in their ways. All right. So let's kick it off with the classic. Let's kick it off with the classic. The book of Luke, chapter 22, at verse 31. All right. This is the book of Luke, chapter 22 and 31. It says, and the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan have desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. All right. So Yahweh said to Peter, right? Peter, first name is Simon. It says, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath the desire to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. See that? So the spiritual demon Satan, he looks at certain brothers and sisters that are on fire, and he says, hey, I want him. All right. I want this person right here. And guess what? Satan wanted Peter, man. That he may what? That he may sift them as you sift wheat. If you know anything about, or if you're a farmer or know anything about agricultural, you would know that wheat has to be sifted. You don't want to just have wheat out there. You're a farmer, it's just sitting out there. All right. I mean, how are you going to get the flour? Flour comes from wheat. So eventually wheat has to be sifted. And the spiritual demon Satan, ultimately, he wanted to sift Simon Peter. Now, why we don't really know, could Peter could have been on fire. Hey, these spirits, the evil spirits on the left-hand side, they know who the elect are. And ultimately, Peter is a part of the elect, the 144,000. So Satan would know who the elect is. Why? Because when you read 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and 3 on down, those spirits were all created around the same time before the world began. All right. So again, sifting season is when ultimately the Most High, through the hand of Satan, starts sifting brothers and sisters out of the truth that's not on fire, that's taking this thing for granted, that think this truth, again, is just a hobby. It's just something to do when you feel like it. No, this truth is your life. When you come into this truth, you're making a life contract, man. Right? You are entering into a life contract. You have to, this is your life now. You can't play basketball anymore. You probably can't be a cheerleader. You have certain women used to be a cheerleader. You probably can't be a nurse anymore. Can't be that football player you wanted to be, or that movie star. Your life is 100% dedicated to the Most High now when you come into the truth. I mean, that's the whole duty of man. That's Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and 13. For this is the conclusion of God, to fear man. This is the whole conclusion of the matter, to fear God and to keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. This is why you were created. You were created to magnify and extol the name of the Most High. But a lot of brothers, they think they were created to go to work, to see how much money they can make so they could get that brand new car. Certain brothers, they think they were created just to have fun in their life. No, the reason why you were created is to magnify the name of the Most High as a man and as a woman. But certain brothers and sisters, they don't take that to mind. They not on fire. So guess what? The Lord has to remind you that Satan desires you. He desires to have you. All right. Yes, he told Peter this, but he told other men this as well. Satan desires to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. And this is for every brother and sister in the truth that's on fire, that's doing what they have to be doing, that's magnifying the name of the Most High. See, Satan doesn't want slothful men. I mean, he already has them. What's the significance about you getting a man that's sloth? I mean, Satan already has those men and those women. All right, the man that has anger problems, that's flipping over stuff, the woman that's talking back to her husband, the man that's mistreating his children, the man that's still struggling with his demons. I mean, Satan already has those men. Satan wants the man that's on fire, that's going as hard as he can. Why? Because he's a target now. Satan says, "Oh no, this man, no, we got to do something. We got to do something to distract this man. He's too on fire." All right. So Satan desires to have a lot of brothers and sisters. When you desire something, you want something really bad. Jake might desire that woman. Man, I gotta go talk to her. She's just beautiful. Next, you know, he's plotting on how to talk to her. He's writing down punchlines. Then you go do it. All right. Satan desire, he wants you. He loves to have you. That it may cause you to be a servant unto him, a servant unto sin. All right. And again, this is not the only time where Satan desires to have somebody. You read about that in the book of Job, the 2nd chapter. All right. Where the Most High said, have you considered my servant Job? But you also read about that in Genesis, the 4th chapter. All right, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 4 and verse 7. If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? Right? Meaning, if you do what you're supposed to be doing, I mean, surely the Most High is going to accept your works. If you're sincere, you're diligent, you're serving him with all thy might, all thy soul, and thy heart. You casting down different demons. You casting down everything that's trying to exalt itself over the knowledge of Yahweh Shah. I mean, I'm well sure the Most High is going to accept you. You're trying to do right. It says, and if thou doest not well, meaning if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing in this truth, only you know. All right, man, we might not know what you do when you go home from camp or when you behind closed doors, but ultimately the Most High knows who's doing well and who's not doing well. So for the people that's not doing well, guess what the Most High said? Sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. That's what the Most High told Cain. If you don't want to do well, sin is lying at your door. What is your door? The door represents your mind. And Yahweh Shai knocks at the door every time he knocks at the door every day. He's knocking at your mind. He's saying, sup with me. Every time you open up this Bible, hey, Yahweh Shai, he's trying to spend time with you. Every time you crack this thing open, he's trying to spend time with you. A lot of men, they don't answer the door, though. They act like it's a stranger at their door. All right. That's Jake. Jake hears somebody knocking at the door. He looking at the window before he actually opened up the door. So guess what? Satan is lying at your mind. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. I want to get this precept in a different translation. Right? I want to get this precept in a different translation. Genesis chapter 4 and 7. All right. Now this in a different translation. We just using it. It's a mean translations. Now you want to be careful sometimes. Nevertheless, you want to have the spirit of discernment dealing with these different translations. Now, this Genesis 4 and 7 in the NIV. If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. So just to simplify what the Most High told Cain, because a lot of brothers break down Genesis 4 and 7 wrong in the KJV. This is what the Most High basically told Cain. He said, sin is crouching at your door, bro. He's saying, get right. What are you doing? Do you not know sin is lying at your door? He also told Cain, it desires to have you. All right. He says sin desires to have you. That's what he told Cain. And sin desires to have a lot of you brothers and sisters. Again, all because you're not on fire. You have certain men, they don't read. They go days without reading, days without praying, days without studying, weeks without fasting. I mean, you know you could do better. You just don't do better. Guess what? Sin, it desires to have you. But what? But you must rule over it. You have to rule over sin. This is to avoid sifting. See, this is to avoid being sifted out by the Most High. That's what he told Cain. See, look at this. It says in the NLT, you will be accepted if you do what is right. But if you refuse to do what is right, then watch out. Sin is crouching at the door, eager to control you, but you must subdue it and be its master. See that? So you have to rule over. So you have to not deal with that, man. You have to say literally, we're not dealing with that. And you have to go through the precepts, just like you would be at count, and you have to cast that spirit out. Why? Because it wants you. It desires to have you. What you're gonna come to? Let's go to Tobit, chapter 12. All right, let's go to the book of Tobit, the 12th chapter, the 6th chapter. So what you're gonna come to find out, these spirits, they know who you are, man. They love you. Sin loves you. Whatever sin used to deal with, it loves you. That weed spirit, it loves you. The spirit of anger, it loves you. The spirit of fornication, adultery, sexual lust, it loves you, man. And a lot of brothers, they entertain these spirits. No man is gonna entertain somebody that's trying to kill him. I mean, you ask Jake in the hood, hey, would you hang around? Jake say, I got ops. All right. Jake is not hanging around his ops. Hey, he see his ops. Hey, he kind of turning the other way. When you come into the truth, your ops is the sin, these evil spirits. You can't hang with them, man. You can't try to be cool with them, buddy. Yeah, I'm not gonna rebuke that spirit. It's not bothering me. All right. No, you gotta rebuke it, man. You gotta put it far away from me. Why? Because these spirits, they know who you are. They love you. Again, that wrath spirit that you've been struggling with, it loves you. It loves every time you get out of the spirit. Right? Pornography, it loves every time you watch it. All right. It loves every time you go back into the ways of the old man or the ways of the old women. It loves when you, as a female, as a woman, when you hit up men in the world. It loves you, man. And that's what causes certain brothers to be sifted out, because they're not diligent. They're not on fire. It's the book of Tobit, chapter 6 and 14. And now I am the only son of my father, and I am afraid, as if I go unto her, I die, as the other before me. For a wicked spirit loveth her. See that? Now this is talking about Sarah in the book of Tobit. It said Asmodeus was that wicked spirit. It said Asmodeus loved her. Now Sarah she wasn't wicked. It's not that Sarah was wicked. She was righteous. She was innocent. Nevertheless, them spirits don't care if you're righteous, man. They want you. They love to dwell in your soul. They love you. They get off on you. So a wicked spirit, Asmodeus, he loved Sarah. A lot of you women, you got spirits, they love you, man. Don't think that loud black woman spirit don't love you. That spirit where you just talk too much or you just say anything. You not having self-control. You not having meekness and of a quiet spirit. Hey, those spirits, they love you, man. They love every time you get out of the spirit. They want you to put on pants again. All right. Those spirits, they want you to dress promiscuous again. Don't think spirits don't love women. If anything, spirits, they're more susceptible to hop on women, seeing them being the weaker vessel, according to 1 Peter chapter 3 and 7. Nevertheless, these wicked spirits, they love the righteous. Their job is to turn a man that's righteous away from their righteousness and go into wickedness. That's their job. It says, which hurt of nobody but those that come into her. Wherefore also fear lest I die and bring my father and mother's life because of me to the grave with sorrow, for they have no other son to bury them. See, that's so I mean, this is all a part of sifting season. Now, the man that's diligent, you have to remain. That's good. All praise to the Most High. You have to remain diligent. You have to continue to fight. But for you brothers that's not doing that, you better watch out, man. Because at any given moment, them spirits got hop on you. Next, you know, you doing those things which are not convenient. All right. Hey, I'm acceptable to sifting season. I could partake in that. The Lord can sift me out. But that's why I have to do diligence to make my calling and election sure. So I could avoid that. All right. Let's go to the book of Luke chapter 1 and 5. Let's go to the book of 1 Peter chapter 5 and 8. All right, it's the book of 1 Peter chapter 5 and 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. What does it mean by be sober? That means be of a sound mind. When you go into the blue letter in this Greek word. And be vigilant, meaning what? Be on watch. What do you have to be on watch for? All right. You have to be on watch for these spirits. It's the definition of vigilant. It says vigilant. It says keeping careful watch for possible danger or difficulties. So when you're in this truth, you have to keep careful watch for possible danger or difficulties. You have to always be watchful, observant, sharp-eyed, gimlet-eyed, alert. You have to always be on alert. They say in the world, I believe my Edomite boss told me this at my old job. He said you always got to have your head on a swivel. All right. So even Esau knows this. He said you always got to have your head on a swivel. Now, he was talking about the job, but this applies to the truth. You have to always be observant, sharp-eyed. Because if you're not observant, if you're not aware of your surroundings at all times, Satan is going to have a field day with you. Are we just going to say that right now? The spiritual, if you're not sober or vigilant in the spirit, Satan, he's going to devour you. A lion, it devours its prey. Satan is going to have a field day with you, man. He's going to have you to do God knows what. All right. He might have you fall out. Then when you fall out, you be with a transgender. That might have never been your spirit, but Satan turned you out. Now you're dealing with homosexuals. Now you back in the world. Now you're dealing with Edomite women. Are you dealing with Moabite women? Women, you dealing with Edomites. Satan is gonna have a field day. All right. But that's why the Lord commands you to be on fire, to be sober, be vigilant. He's not saying this for no reason. He's saying this because he truly cares for you. All the answers is in the scriptures, in the Bible. The Most High doesn't, he has no pleasure in the death of the wicked. That's written. That's Ezekiel 33 and 11, I believe. But that the wicked turn from his wicked way. So the Lord doesn't want to see you get sifted out, but I mean, he has to, because for some man is stiff-necked. And the Lord told Ezekiel, let's go to that quick precept. The Most High told Ezekiel, hey, let's get this in Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter. I want to get this in Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter. The Lord said, hey, these Negroes, they hard-headed. You're getting sent to a rebellious house. They're not going to listen. It says, it's Ezekiel 2 and 1. And he said unto me, son of man, stand upon thy feet, and I will speak unto thee. And the spirit entered into me when he spake unto me, and set me upon my feet, that I heard him that spake unto me. And he said unto me, son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this very day. For they are imputed children, stiff-hearted. I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, thus saith the Lord God. So they hard-headed. What does it mean by being stiff-hearted? Stiff-hearted, obstinate, stubborn. They stubborn, man. The children of Israel, they're rebellious. They are hard-headed. A refusal to listen. They don't want to listen. So guess what the Most High has to do? He has to send these angels, for lack of better terms, to cut down man. That's the only way they don't get it. If they get cut down in the land of the living. Whether that's by death, that might be by a reprobate mind. We don't know, but we know the Most High had to send these spirits down because they refused to listen. Now let me get this precept in the book of Second Chronicles. I mean, that's the only way, really. See, Jake, just because you come into the truth, that don't mean you still not an Israelite. Or like the Israelites that you read about in the scriptures. No, you have wicked men even in the nation of Israel. You got men in the truth. They still stiff-necked. They still don't get it. At the end of the day, they still Israel. That's what I'm trying to say. So the Most High has to remind you, hey, it don't matter if you still Israel. You still have to do what I command you to do. It's the book of Second Chronicles, chapter 18 and verse 18. And he said, therefore, hear the word of the Lord. All right. Salakia, bear with me. All right, Salakia, I'm back. All right, let's go back to this. It says, again, he said, hear the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting upon his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing on his right hand and on his left. And the Lord said, who shall entice Ahab, king of Israel, that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one spake after this manner, saying to, and another saying after this manner. So really this is Micaiah in the spirit. He's saying, I saw the Lord sitting upon the throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing on his right and on his left. Meaning he saw the angels on the left-hand side, and he saw angels on the left-hand side, the spirits. Verse 20, there came out a spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will entice him. And the Lord said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go out, and being a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And the Lord said, thou shalt entice him, and thou shalt also prevail. Go out and do even so. And this happens all the time, man. It's a spirit. It's a spirit saying, hey, send me, send me. The most I say, well, hey, we're gonna use a brother, for example. The brother Chris, he's in the truth. He's been there 5 years. but he hasn't been diligent. So the Most High is saying, hey, who gonna cause his brother Chris to get sifted out? All right. Then the spirit might say, hey, me. And the Most High say, well, how? Then he say, well, I'm gonna be the spirit of lust, and I'm gonna tempt them and have them fall, and you could just take the spirit away from it. Hey, this was going on in this while man is just watching Netflix. You got Jake sitting back like this. Let's see, which one? All right, Stranger Things. Okay. What else? Oh, okay. Oh yeah, the big game one today, man. Get comfortable. He hasn't read in 3 days, right? And he has a family. God knows he probably haven't been teaching his family. He just sitting back watching the big game or watching ESPN. While he's doing that, the Most High, he got spirits already trying to attack that man. Next thing you know, a month later, brother Chris is no longer in the truth. He got sifted out. These things, they happen all the time. Let's go to the book of Daniel, chapter 4. It's the book of Daniel, chapter 4, and verse number 14. I'm going to start at verse 11. This is Daniel chapter 4 and 11. The tree grew. I'm going to start at 10. That's where the visions of my head and my bed. I saw and behold a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great. The tree grew and was strong, and the height thereof reached into heaven, and the sight thereof to the end of the earth. Now, ultimately, this is talking about Nebuchadnezzar. He was that great tree. Tree are referred to as men when you read the Bible. Right, that's Mark chapter 8 and 24. That's Psalm chapter 91 and verse 12. Psalm chapter 1 and verse 2. And a plethora of other precepts. Nevertheless, it says the tree grew and was strong. Verse 12. The leaves thereof were fair, and the fruit thereof much. And it was meat for all. The beasts of the field had shadow under it, and the fowls of heaven dwelt in the boughs thereof, and all flesh was fed unto it. And that might be a man. You might be, again, trees are referred to as men. You might be a man, you might be prospering. You're going out there teaching, you bearing fruit, the fruit increasing. All right. You got wisdom, knowledge, understanding. You in a good state, you happy. Your mental health is perfect. All right. You feeding other people. Brothers asking you questions, you breaking it down. This might be man. It says, verse 13, I saw in the visions of my head upon my bed, behold, a watcher, and an holy one came down from heaven. What is a watcher? A watcher is another name for an angel. It says, verse 14, he cried aloud and said thus, hew down the tree and cut off his branches, shake his leaves and scatter his fruit. Let the beasts get away from under it, and the fowls from under his branches. See that? So you have certain angels, right? They come down. Well, ultimately, the Most High tells these angels, and they say, hey, take this tree down. Get this man up out of here. Oh, yeah, get this sister up out of here. She still want to hold on to the world. Let her go. Because it's a certain time. See, everything, that's Ecclesiastes 3 and 1. So everything, there is a season and a purpose under the sun. So if you're not on fire for one day, I'm pretty sure the Most High is not just going to say, oh, yeah, I was waiting for him to mess up, take him out of this truth. No, the Lord is not going to do that. He's not even unrighteous like that. I'm saying we all have our days or fall short, I'll say. But the Lord, it has to be for a period of time. Because again, the Most High is not just going to do that. So it has to be over time. The Lord sending you warnings, you just not getting it. He might even send you a dream, you still might get it. You still might not get it. You still might not get it together. So what he has to do, because it's a season, even as the wheat, it's a season for the wheat to get reaped. All right. for it to get sifted. So your sins and your wickedness is going to come up before the Most High. He's going to say, you know what? I had mercy, long suffering, but this is enough. Hew him down. All right, cut off his branches and shake his leaves and scatter his fruit. That's why you hear brothers say, well, man, remember that brother? Man, he used to be so mighty, man. What happened to him? You don't want to be that brother. Everybody they coming around on the feast days and they asking, well, what happened to that brother? Or what happened to that sister? She used to be in the congregation. You don't want to be that. I mean, that's not a good reputation to carry. You want to carry that reputation of, dang, that's good, that brother, he's continually doing that. That's why the Lord said you have to endure. All right, let's go to Luke chapter 13. All right. So you have certain angels, they commanded to hew certain men down. This Luke chapter 13 and 5. I tell you, nay, but except ye repent, ye shall all likewise perish. He spake also this parable. A certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came and sought fruit thereon and found none. Now, ultimately, that man is Yahushua. He had a fig tree was this man and planted it in his vineyard, which is the nation of Israel, pursuing to Isaiah 5 and 7. And he had fruit therein. So that man, he was bearing fruit. He was having good works. He was fasting. He was feeding the sheep, feeding the flock. All right. Well, ultimately, the Lord came to seek fruit, but this man didn't have no fruit on it. Meaning, it could be a brother. He's in the truth. But yeah, he found out he's an Israelite, but he's not. He don't have no works. He didn't keep the commandments hastily, like the Lord said. He was just lazy. He was just sitting around. Then he said unto the dresser of his vineyard, behold, these 3 years I come seeking fruit on this fig tree and find none. So this man, I mean, 3 years, that could be literal. 3 years, you in the truth 3 years, you knew about it, but you still not labor. You still being slothful as a woman. You're still not gathering together. You don't even know the high holy days. For 3 years, all those years could be complete. It could be 8 years, 1 year. Nevertheless, you don't have fruit on your tree, or you stop bearing fruit. It says, and find none. This is what the Lord said. Cut it down. Why cometh the ground? Meaning, why is this just a cut? We need space. Cut this thing down, man. That's why over time, see a lot of brothers, you don't see the same faces you used to see. And that's scary, man. Because the Most High could do that. Right? Now you got cut down. All because you wasn't on fire. You wasn't diligent. Hey, every answer in this book, it's not hard to find out how to be diligent. I mean, it's in here. The Lord said, seek and you shall find. You have brothers put up, brothers put up a lot of videos, man. All congregations, whether you're in Sakari, IUIC, they put up videos, man. So it's no excuse. Verse 8. And he said unto him, Lord, let it alone this year also. So you have people pleading on your behalf. Ultimately, Yahushua pleads on your behalf. Meaning, hey, just give them one more year. Give them one more time. One more chance. You have certain angels. Hey, Lord, just give them one more chance. I know that sister, she been off, but Lord, please have compassion. Right? So it says, and he said, let it alone this year also, till I shall dig it about and dung it. And if it bear fruit, well. And if not, then after that, thou shalt cut it down. And that's why I said the Lord always gives you. Any brother that has fell out to the truth, I guarantee you the Lord has gave him a warning. Any sister that has fell out of the truth, the Lord has gave them a warning. The Lord is not just going to cast you off. The Lord wants you to get right. But guess what? If you don't bear fruit after this time, if you do bear fruit, that's good. That you was already supposed to be doing that. But if not, then after that, that shall cut it. You got to get this. Hey, we're not dealing with the Lord. Not He gonna say, hey, we're not dealing with that. We got other brothers and sisters that want to be in this thing. So all of that is equated with sifting season. And like I said, around this time, the fall approaching the winter time, when it get cold in the Midwest and on the East Coast and up north, you have a lot of brothers, they stop coming. Or they say, well, hold on, it's too cold outside. I don't want to labor no more. All right. You got certain brothers that say, well, hold on, I don't know about this. My kid, they make excuses. Yeah, my kids, they need a new babysitter. They need new clothes. Brother, what does that have to do with you laboring? So this is all a part of sifting season. It says, and next, this Nehemiah 3 and 5, and next unto them the Tekoites repaired, but their nobles put not their necks to the work of the Lord. So you have certain men, they don't want to put their neck to the work of the Most High. Or they do it, but then when things get rough, they stop doing it. Then the Most High has to sift those men out. Nevertheless, certain men, they don't put their necks to the work of the Most High. Next you know, now the Lord got to send an angel just to sift you out. You know how prideful that is? The Lord gave you everything you needed, but you don't even want to put your neck to the work of the Most High. See that? Let's go to Proverbs. So all of this is equated with sifting season. And sifting season, I believe, is already here. It's just settling in right now. And I believe Esau said the end of summertime, I believe it says September 21st. That's when things start to get cold. And even the cold weather has a spirit to it. Nothing could grow in the cold. Things will start to wax old in the cold, etc. So the cold is equated with a lot of things. Now this Proverbs chapter 20 and 4. The sluggard would now plow by the reason of the cold. I'm going to read that again. The sluggard would not plow by reason of the cold. All right. What does it mean, the sluggard? Meaning a slothful, lazy man. He's not going to plow. He's going to say, well, nah, it's too cold outside. Hey, up north, man, they get cold. It might be 10, it might be 13 degrees outside one day. Might have to stand out there for 5 hours. It might be 5 degrees. It might warm up and be 30. And we think 30 degrees is hot for us in the cold. All right. But you have certain men, hey, my baby needs some wipes. I gotta go do this. Or my girl, she want me to take her out. Then the brother lied. Then he sitting back. Turning on the TV, watching Teen Titans Go with his hot chocolate. Right? Saying, hey, babe, can you make me some hot chocolate? So instead of laboring, he's in a house drinking some hot cocoa while the brothers out there suffering in the cold. So this is what the Most High said. Therefore shall he beg and harvest and have nothing. I don't know what this is, but it says in harvest and have nothing. And ultimately, the true harvest is coming when the Lord reaches the earth. All right. So that man, he's going to beg, spiritually beg. And that's physically, but we using this spiritually. He's going to have, when it's time for the kingdom of heaven, when it's time for everybody to get their reward for the things they have done now, he's going to have nothing. All because he didn't want to, he said it was too cold outside. All right. So again, all of this is equated with sifting season. All right. So you have to make sure you're on fire during this time, or the Most High can sit you out. All right. Now, I want to go into some of these current events. Let me see. All right. I want to go into these current events and see what's going on right now. All right, so if brothers don't know, you have something called a Hurricane Ian. You actually had another hurricane, Hurricane Fiona, before Hurricane Ian. Nevertheless, you have I believe they say it's a Category 4 hurricane. All right, so it's a lot of prophecies going out in the last days. You have men falling out of the truth, women falling out. All right, kids falling out, certain men being destroyed. You have blood moons, earthquakes, hurricanes, and Hurricane Ian lashes Carolinas as death toll in Florida rises. So you actually have people dying from this hurricane, and we have brothers down there in Florida, man. All right, let's see the death toll. See, so the Lord is killing people, man. See that? That's Hurricane Ivan. I'm trying to see the death toll for Hurricane Ian. All right, so they saying at least 10 people died. All right, 10 people, but it's continuing to rise, and we don't know how many people actually did. I mean, you have a whole city that's a whole state, almost southern state that's flooded. Nevertheless, Hurricane Ian. So this Hurricane Ian's, I believe the hurricane hit Wednesday. It says the damage left behind in Hurricane's Ian wake is obvious. The boats piled up in the street in Fort Myers. The pier ripped in half in Naples. Right, you had this, but look at this. This man, he has to deal with a boat being outside his apartment complex. It says U.S. President Joe Biden has warned that Ian, which hit on Wednesday as a Category 4, could be the deadliest in state's history. The focus has now turned to a massive search and rescue operation as Ian heads toward North and South Carolina. So far, more than 700 people have been rescued from Charlotte and Lee counties, the two worst hit states. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said on Thursday he warned both countries that have been left basically off the grid following power outages, which hours later were still affecting some 2.2 million homes and business across the state. So they say over 2.2 million people are without power in Florida. All right. We're not going to read this whole article, but this is what's happened. You have hurricanes right now. You have war rising up over there with Russia. I mean, it's a lot that's going on. It says Biden says and he intends to visit Puerto Rico following Hurricane Ian. While they were seeing devastated images in Florida, I want to be clear to the people of Puerto Rico, I am committed to you and the recovery of the island. We will stand by you for however long it takes. We don't believe that from Joe Biden. He might just be talking.
By you for however long it takes to get it done. I know the folks here at FEMA and across the federal government are working nonstop around the clock. That's why finally, I want to thank the first responders, the National Guard, the Coast Guard, service members, and the search and rescue personnel who are working to get people to safety and to restore power, water, and phone lines. And while we're seeing the devastating images in Florida,
right? So we don't know if that's true. He might just be talking. Now, let's see. Yeah, that's from Hurricane Ian. See that? Right? People think this is a game, man. You see. And that's actually Hurricane Ian and Fiona. Hurricane Fiona actually happened after we had some blood moons. We had like 2, 3 blood moons in a row. And next to you know, Hurricane Ian happened. And Fiona first, then it was some earthquakes, then this happened. So the Lord, I mean, He's showing you. I believe it was like some brother said it was 5 blood moons back to back to back. All right. Then next you know the hurricanes came into place. See that? The worst storm surge I've ever seen. So you see this Edomite, he's suffering from it. Now that's judgment. All right. Let's see. I seen something earlier. Dang. Yeah, here we go, right here. Look at this.
There's like 3 boats. No, there's 4 boats. 4 of them. 4 boats. Holy crap. That's what you do outside.
See that? Goddamn. What happened? You got a lot going on, man. You had this earthquake, 6.8 Mexico. This was before the this was actually before Hurricane Ian came in. Nevertheless, you have both you have a whole bunch of stuff all in the streets. See if I can pull this up.
We know we've got to find another place to stay. We need to get everything out first is our main priority, and then move on from there. I mean, we got a lot of other people that are in worse shape.
So I mean, this is what's going on right now. Now you might say, well, that's not on my block, or that's not happening in my city. Well, the Lord could cause anything to happen in your city, man. The Lord could cause a tornado to come. The Lord could, I mean, the Most High could do anything. All right, but for the brothers and we have brothers and sisters down there. Israel is scattered. So for certain Israelites, this might be a big deal. They might have lost their house, etc. Next, they still have to endure. So you want to make sure you pray for brothers and sisters down there as well. That's in the truth. Let me see if I can pull up this article. This tweet been deleted. I wanted to pull up this article. Bear with me. Oh yeah, here it goes. It says, it's from 5 hours ago. There are some areas along the west coast of Florida that have literally been destroyed. Some have compared the devastation to the dropping of an atomic bomb, and that is not exaggerated at all. It says it appears that we just witnessed the most costly natural disaster in U.S. history by a wide margin. See that? And it's hitting on South Carolina. So they said this is almost worse than an atomic bomb, which is I don't believe so, because atomic bomb destruction, that's worse than this. But They comparing it to it. Now again, we all know that this is the hand of the Most High. This is Bible prophecy, right? So Bible prophecy is not always you going into Revelation, the 16th chapter, in the 9th chapter, in the 8th chapter, and you going into Daniel the 12th chapter. Yeah, that's prophecy, but you have prophecies. You have minor prophecies, I would say, that have to take place as well. Let's go to Luke chapter 21 and 25. All right, let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 21, the verse number 25. It says, "And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon." We seen that with the blood moon for the brothers that know. It says, "And in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring." See that? So on one fold, on the second fold, what is the sea and the waves roaring? Right? Hey, that's the Most High stirring up the elements, man. Him stirring up the waves of the sea, causing hurricanes, man, causing water sprouts. Hey, the Most High, he does that, man. It's not man just doing it. Hey, even King Solomon knew that it was the Most High. King Solomon knew about hurricanes. These are all prophecies. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. It's the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. And I want verse number 17. Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 17. "For he hath given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely how to know how the world was made and the operation of the elements." So King Solomon, he knew about how the world was made. The Most High gave him certain mysteries and revelations and wisdom, knowledge, understanding about how the world was made and the operations of the elements. All right. So King Solomon already knew about the periodic table. Verse 18, "The beginning, ending, and midst of times." So he knew about the beginning of the world. He knew about the end of the world. And he knew about the midst of times, which is the Middle Ages. It says the alterations of the turning of the sun and the change of seasons. So King Solomon, he knew about the sun pattern, and he knew about the hibernation period. He knew about, when he knew about summer, fall, springtime, the circuits of years, and the position of the stars. He knew about astrology. All right, dealing with that. It says the natures of living creatures, the furies of wild beasts, the violence of winds. What is the violence of winds? Hey, King Solomon, he knew about different air pressures. All right. He knew about a tornado in his winds. That's a violent wind. Esau even tell you a hurricane is actually created from the moist temperatures that's out there in the sea. It might be 80 degrees mixed with cool temperatures. Next you know, it starts building up and it turns into a hurricane. So King Solomon, he already knew about hurricanes. He already knew about the violence of winds. Everybody knew that this is the work of the Most High. The Most High, who taught him the violence of winds? The Most High did. It says, "And the reasonings of men, the diversity of plants, and the virtues of roots." So Hurricane Ian, this is all of the Most High, man. The different violence, that's a violent wind. Being in a hurricane is not something you want to be in. That's not a nice thing. Look at this. Hurricane Ian makes landfall as one of the Southwest Florida's most intense hurricanes on record with 155 miles per hour winds. So you have winds going up to 155 miles per hour. That's the violence of winds. 155 miles per hour. And you'll be somewhere, how do you think those boats end up all the way in the middle of Texas? That's the wind. That's the Most High stirring up the elements, man, causing them to do that. You have certain spirits that's actually over the elements. You have certain angels, they have power over fire. Let's get that real fast. Certain angels have power over fire. You have a Pacific angel that controls the snow and the frost. So all of these different things is all from the handiwork of the Most High, and that's for judgment. Quick precept: Revelation chapter 14 and 18. And another angel came out from the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud voice to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. So you have certain angels, they have a power over fire. You have an angel that has power over wind. Another angel has power over the winter, the snow. All of these is different angels on the left-hand side, ultimately stirring up the elements and causing judgment to be having and wreaking on the earth, man. Now, let's see. I believe I seen an Edomite outside. If we can't find it, that's cool. I wanted to pull up this video. Now, it's something else I wanted to touch on. It's a few more things. Probably got to go back to it. All right. So you have sifting season, you have hurricanes, you have earthquakes, you have coons out here. I want to bring this up. Right. I don't think it's on her thing. I just seen it on the timeline. Most I willing I could find it. Oh yeah. Here's some of it. Go right here. Let me see. I believe this is it. It's this video I seen. Dang. So you got madness on here. What is this? Madness. But that's okay, man. Most I willing. Man, I want to bring that up. Well, most I willing it could come back. But you had this Eve, man. She was being a coon. And that video, that was off. All right. That was off. Oh yeah, here are some of the videos right here. This is what I wanted to bring up again. Now look at this. All right. Look at this.
Oh my God.
Something's on fire!
See that? So you have lightning. Now they say lightning. This is what they said. They say lightning never strikes twice in the same place. Long behold, you have two lightning strikes. You have two lightning strikes in the same place, man. And they say lightning never strikes twice in the same place. So you got the Most High sending down lightning bolts. I mean, and they think it's funny. When I see lightning, I get scared, man. I mean, imagine you get struck down by lightning. You know that's the Most High, man. All right, look at this.
Oh my God.
I mean, that has to be somebody causing that to happen. All right, you just get struck down by lightning. Hey, we wanted these. Well, I believe these are Edomites. Most I willing they could have got struck down. But you have this going on. What else? Hopefully I could find it on this one right here. I believe this is it. Scrolling and looking. Yeah, I don't think this is it. Yeah, so most I willing that could come back. I want to pull up this. It's more prophecy going on. All right, there's more prophecy going on. Let's go to this. All right, let's go to this. So you have, it says, a crazy Russian celeb tells the old world to tremble because Russia is coming with this holy war. All right, it says you had this Russian celebrity say to the old world, you better be scared because Russia is coming with this holy war. All right.
Правильно это назвать священная война. Священная война. Существует такое древнерусское местометие «гойда», означающее призыв к немедленному действию. Как же нам не хватает сейчас таких боевых кличей? Гойда, братья и сестры, гойда!
Right. So we don't know what he's saying, but we don't know what he's saying, but technically this is what he's saying. He's saying the world needs to tremble because Russia is coming with this holy war. And he's not lying. Right? Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 37. I believe that's Ezekiel 38. He's not lying. Russia is coming with this troops prophetically. All right. Russia is a major key piece in World War III, also known as Gog and Magog prophetically. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 38. This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 38 and verse 2. It says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, prophesy against him. Now, when you read about Magog, Gog, Meshech, and Tubal, these are technically all the sons of Japheth when you read Genesis, the 10th chapter. But prophetically, this is speaking about Russia and its respective allies. Prophetically. All right. Again, these are literally the sons of Japheth, but you have to go in prophecy. You have to go in who's the inhabitants of that land right now. It's not talking about the Japhites. Now I want to jump down. It says, I'm going to jump down to verse 4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Right, they're getting ready for war. It says Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, right, which are their allies, and all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands with many people. Right. So who are these many people from the north quarters? You have a treaty called the CTSO, the Collective Treaty Security Organization, which is dealing with Russia. Let's see if we can pull that up. Russia and its respective allies. So this is all who's going to be stirred up for war. See, I might have to pull up the actual name. All right, here we go, right here. You have the CT. Let me see if I can pull up a better map. This is what you call the CTSO. So it's the Collective Treaty Organization, which is a military alliance focused on security and military matters and consists of Russia, Belarus, Armenia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan, while Eurasian Economic Union, the EEU, has all of these members with the exception of Tajikistan and focusing on economic integration. So all of these people, these are the members of the CSTO, right, which is the Collective Security Treaty Organization. All right. So again, these are your people from the North Quarters. And like this Edomite said, he said to tremble because Russia is coming with this holy war. So they're even as civilians, they're letting you know that war is on a rise. All right. That's Jeremiah chapter what? That's Jeremiah 50. Let's go to that. Jeremiah chapter 50 and 22. A sound of battle is in the land. All right. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah. Quick precept. Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse number 22. It says, a sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. So you living in the days, you living in a world full of battle to come. You living in the days of battle. Ultimately, you're living in the times of war. So that's what Russia just said. It's something I want to pull up about Russia again. All right. I believe what's his name? Right, end time headlines. It's what this from 1 hour ago. It says flashback on February. Well, that's not what I wanted. This is what I think. This end time headlines. It says there is a report indicating that Zelensky has officially applied for NATO membership. So this is what they said. They saying with Zelensky, if you don't know who he is, he's the president of Ukraine. He's saying now Ukraine, they was about to join NATO a while back, but they never joined. They never officially became a member. So what Zelensky is saying, it's the report. Now they don't know if this is 100% true or not. They just saying, hey, this is a report that Zelensky has officially applied for NATO membership. Putin has already warned that if this was to happen, that he will retaliate with nukes. Buckle up, folks. We're in for a tough ride. More updates on this soon. And this is from 2 hours ago. So if Zelensky actually made that decision to join NATO, Putin has already warned he's going to retaliate with nuclear weapons. All right. So again, this is not a game. Now this might take time. This might speed things up or it might slow things down. We don't know. We don't know if this is true, but only time would tell, man. Only time would tell. See what they got in the comments. What they say this way.
Every single inch. So, Mr. Putin.
Let's see what Joe Biden said.
Fully prepared with our NATO allies to defend every single inch of NATO territory. Every single inch. So, Mr. Putin, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Every inch. America is fully prepared with our NATO allies to defend every single inch of NATO territory.
See that? So, a Joe Biden, he said, hey, we're looking to defend every territory, every inch. All right. So if Ukraine becomes a part of NATO, that means America has to defend what? He has to defend that territory of Ukraine. And he said every inch. Now, This is from 1 hour ago.
And so, Mr. Putin, don't misunderstand what I'm saying.
He said, hey, you better not get it misunderstood. But we don't know if Joe Biden's, if he's playing around when he says this. We just depending off of America, we're going to say they're scared. They don't want to get in the war, but they understand they have to soon, or else some things might go left. So Joe Biden, he's saying, we're going to cover every inch. Let's see what else they saying in the comments. We may not understand all that the Lord is allowing on the earth, but we aren't to fear. It says he is still on his throne, perfect in control of all things. Lord Jesus Christ is still at his right hand. Well, yeah, you're right. You're right about that. We're about to find out if the cities want to go to war or not. He applied for a long time now. If this was going to occur, already would have. So that's what they saying. As far as I'm aware, Zelensky just signed the papers today. So, hey, man, this what they saying. This is just the comments. I like to go to the comments, you know what I'm saying, to see what other people think on it. So they saying, see that? Look at this. You got madness in the comment section. Talking about the Great Tribulation just started on September 25th. These things are, see, you can't say that, man. See that? You always got somebody, who is this? GPD. Yeah, we're not going to get too deep into that. Nevertheless, hey, they saying he just signed the papers today. They said Zelensky just signed the papers to join NATO today. So we got to see how true it is, right? Only time would tell, right? Only time to tell. Now, this is from 5 hours ago. Vladimir Putin has vowed to use any means to defend the 4 Ukrainian regions annexed to Russia after the biggest land grab since World War II. So Putin says he vows to use any means. What is any means? Any means, he's talking about nuclear weapons. See, a lot of people, they don't believe in the nukes. They say, well, the nuke's not in the Bible. See how. See that? Russia has 5,977 nuclear warheads. Now, the warheads, the devices that trigger a nuclear explosion, through this includes that 1,500 that are retired and said to be dismantled. Now, the warheads, I believe that's what causes the explosion inside the nuke. How many nukes would it take to destroy Russia? It says the U.S. possessed 1,300 nuclear warheads on deployed ICBM missiles, SLBMs, and heavy bombers, while Russia possessed 1,444. That's spiritual, man. Hey, that's spiritual. It says, and claim for, see that? So Russia has more nukes than the United States. Nevertheless, that's what they said. They said, Putin said he vows to use any means necessary to defend Ukrainian regions annexed to Russia after largest land grab since World War II. So it's still certain parts of land, I believe, he said it's connected to Russia that he has to defend. Right? With something else. Right? Nevertheless, this is a big thing right here, right now. All right? This thing is really big. So, again, only time would tell to see if this is true or not. nevertheless, this is big, man. This could get things. This could really heat things up. Who would have ever thought Ukraine wouldn't officially become a member until Russia had to do what they had to do? Then Zelensky last minute, now he want to apply for NATO membership. Hey, that's how the Mossad works, man. The Mossad works just like this. All right. Now let me get a precept before we close out. Let's go to 1 Peter, the 4th chapter. Let's go to the book of 1 Peter, chapter 4. It's the book of 1 Peter, chapter 4, and verse number 7. But the end of all things is at hand. Right? But the end of all things is at hand. Pray ye therefore. Be therefore sober and watch unto prayer. So again, you living in exciting times. You living in dangerous times. You living in times where evils will multiply on the earth. So with that being said, you living in the times where evils will be multiplied on the earth. You want to make sure you watching unto prayer and you being sober. All right. But with that, we giving all honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh. Lord willing, this video was edifying. Continue to read, pray, fast, and study. And most importantly, beseech the Heavenly Father for his mercy. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.